Could the election of Mohamed Muizzu send shockwaves through the Indian Ocean region? Muizzu, even before being sworn into office, has pledged to remove Indian military personnel from the Maldives, raising serious questions and concerns about the country's geopolitical alliances and its relationship with China and India. In a stunning electoral upset, Mohamed Muizzu, backed by the People's National Congress, secured victory in the Maldivian presidential runoff. His campaign was centered around the promise to remove Indian military personnel stationed in the country. Muizzu's win represents a significant political shift as he leans towards closer ties with China. This election was seen as a de facto referendum on the country's foreign relations. The people have told us they don't want foreign military here. That's what Muizzu said, among other things. India has had a military presence in the Maldives with 75 personnel stationed there. New Delhi says these personnel are primarily involved in maintaining and operating helicopters and an aircraft donated to the Maldives. However, President-elect Muizzu alleges that this presence poses a threat to Malay's sovereignty. His stance may deal a serious blow to India's geopolitical strength in the Indian Ocean region vis-a-vis China. The Maldives, strategically located in the Indian Ocean, has been a point of interest for both China and India. Under former President Abdullah Yameen, the Maldives became part of China's Belt and Road Initiative, resulting in significant Chinese loans and investments in the country. With Muizzu's pro-China leanings, Beijing is poised to benefit from this electoral outcome, which could undermine India's influence in the region. Therefore, where are things headed is the question that many are asking. As Muizzu prepares to take office on the 17th of November, there are lingering questions about the future of the Maldives' foreign relations. While he has pledged to address the imbalanced trade relationship with India, completely pivoting towards Beijing may not be feasible. India too remains committed to strengthening its bilateral ties with the Maldives. Analysts believe the change of leadership in the Maldives could present opportunities for Chinese investors and potentially reshape the dynamics of the Indian Ocean region. However, India will likely continue with its developmental aid and seek to maintain its influence in the Maldives. All right, turning to Shri. Shri, it was known from the get-go that here is a president-elect who has very strong pro-China leanings. But now, when he says we do not want India's military presence in our island country, I mean, he seems to have already taken a significant step forward in that direction. What does this really mean?
So, Neha, first of all, I don't buy this argument about, India's military presence is a threat to Maldivian sovereignty because, the reality is we haven't invaded Maldives. We came, Indian army presence or the Indian, military presence was built in Maldives at the request of the Maldivian government, the previous government, which wanted certain capabilities, whether it is in terms of, let's say, hardware, which is helicopters or aircraft to, strengthen its own Coast Guard. And it didn't have the personnel to run all these equipment, so we had to, Indian government, they asked, and Indian government provided. So it is not as if we have threatened Maldivian sovereignty or anything. So now, does it mean that if Indian army, if Indian military presence is vacated from Maldives, will that create a vacuum which then China will easily fill in? I don't think so either, because now, don't forget, there is now US in this area now. They have physically set up presence in Malay, and now with the new government coming in, the US will be looking at Maldives much more closely than before, when India was, the ally, and, it pretty much allowed India to help Maldives and do things. So if anything, I think, we might see a military presence from the US because Neha, this is not a new thing. I'm not saying something new. Almost for more than 10 years now, US has been contemplating some sort of a military presence in Maldives, at least a naval presence in Maldives. So that may actually come to fruition. So the best thing which Mr. Muizzu could potentially do is to say that, I'm not going to be anti-India, but I'm also not going to be pro-China. And I'm probably going to be, talking to the bigger brother, US, and then try to build a relationship which helps me develop the Maldivian economy. And therefore, keep my people also happy that I'm not like picking between two regional competitors, which is India or China, but instead I'm going to, be more friendly with US, although it's tiny compared to the relationship that, it can have with US. But the fact is, US might have a say in how things shape up. And as India is a natural ally of US in this part of the world, I think that works to India's advantage, Neha. So net, I don't think India is going to lose significantly just because there's a new government that's come in Maldives, Neha.
All right, that is significant that the US could perhaps be, in a sense, a balancing factor in that region.